Today, we're going to explore how you can transform your life in just 30 days by changing the way you speak to yourself. Now, let me ask you, what do you say to yourself when no one else is around? We all talk to ourselves. But what if I told you that the words you say in your quietest moments are the most important? The words you speak become the house you live in. If you're telling yourself you're not enough, or that success is out of reach, you're building a life around those beliefs. But what if, for just 30 days, you chose to speak differently? What if you replaced doubt with confidence, fear with faith, and excuses with action? Your words have the power to change your life. Let's take the next 30 days to speak like the person you want to become. Are you ready to begin? Let's dive in. Have you ever stopped and listened to the way you talk to yourself? It's a powerful question. And it's a question you need to answer, because the way you speak to yourself is shaping your life. You are always listening to the conversation you're having in your own mind. Now, I don't mean the words you say out loud necessarily. I'm talking about the words that swirl around in your head when no one else is around. You see, our minds are like gardens. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, don't be surprised when that garden grows into something that's dark, twisted, and unproductive. But what if, instead of negative seeds, you planted words of power, words of confidence, of possibility, of strength? The major key to your better future is you. And it begins with the way you speak to yourself. Here's the thing about self-talk. It's not just about encouraging yourself when things are going well. It's about training your mind to respond to challenges, setbacks, and failures with the right words. Success is nothing more than a few simple disciplines, practiced every day. And one of those disciplines is paying attention to the words you speak to yourself every day. Ask yourself, when something goes wrong, what do you say? I'm not good enough. I'll never make it. I always mess up. These words are powerful, but they're powerful in the wrong direction. They're like weeds choking the life out of your potential. So, what's the answer? You have to change the way you talk to yourself every single day. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Stand guard at the door of your mind. Don't let just any thought in. Be deliberate. Be intentional. When negativity comes knocking, refuse to let it in. You have the power to control what you say to yourself. When you find yourself thinking, I can't do this, replace it with, I can learn how to do this. When you think, I'll never be successful, replace it with, success is just around the corner and I'm going to get there. The key is awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. So pay attention to your inner conversation. Stop and ask yourself, what am I telling myself right now? And if the answer is anything less than empowering, change it. It's that simple. But let's take it a step further. Not only do you need to change the negative words, but you also need to start speaking affirmations that align with who you want to become. I am capable. I am learning every day. I am worthy of success. I am stronger than my circumstances. Speak those words with conviction. What you think about and think about, you bring about. What you focus on is what grows in your life. So if you focus on growth, on strength, on possibility, guess what? That's what you'll start to see more of. Remember, your mind is a garden. Plant good seeds and they'll grow into a beautiful life. But the opposite is also true. If you let weeds of doubt, fear, and negativity take root, they'll overshadow everything you're trying to build. So for the next 30 days, start paying attention to what you're saying to yourself. Start noticing when the conversation in your mind turns negative, and make a conscious effort to replace it with something positive, something that empowers you. But the greatest gift you can give yourself is a positive, empowering conversation with yourself. Take that first step today. Pay attention. Speak kindly to yourself. You're always listening, and so is your future. Today, I want you to pause and really think about this. What have you been saying to yourself lately? Not out loud, not in conversation, I mean that quiet voice. The one that speaks when you're all alone. When no one's around. When it's just you and your thoughts. Now I'll tell you something that changed my life. The most important conversation you'll ever have is the one you have with yourself. Because you are always listening. Your mind is always tuned in. And whether you realize it or not, your future is being shaped by the words you speak in silence. You see, fear doesn't just come crashing in like thunder. Fear creeps in, soft, subtle, persuasive. It whispers. And if you're not careful, you'll start to believe those whispers. They become part of your programming, part of your story. I'm not good enough. I've always failed before. What if I mess it up again? People like me don't make it. And over time, those phrases become familiar. You rehearse them like a script. You repeat them until they become truth. Not because they are true, but because you believe them long enough to make them real. Let me ask you something. What would happen? Just imagine if you changed that voice. What if, for the next 30 days, you stopped speaking fear and started speaking faith? Now, I'm not talking about blind optimism. I'm not talking about pretending problems don't exist. Faith isn't fantasy. Faith is focus. Faith is looking at your current situation and still choosing to say, I believe something better is possible. I don't have it yet, but I'm on the path. I'm capable. I'm committed. I'm becoming stronger every day. You see, one of the great discoveries I made is that you don't have to feel strong to speak strong. You just have to choose it. And once you choose to speak faith, something beautiful begins to happen. Your mind starts to align with your words. Your beliefs begin to change. And when your beliefs change, your habits follow. Because here's how it works: what you speak, you think. What you think, you believe. What you believe, you become. It's a chain reaction. And it always starts with words. That's why years ago, when I was broke and discouraged, I started talking to myself differently. I didn't wait until life changed. I changed the conversation. I remember saying things like, Jim, you're better than this. You're learning. You're growing. You're going to figure this out. I can do this. And I said it again and again and again. Not because I felt it, but because I needed to feel it. I was planting seeds. And the harvest came, but not right away. You have to be willing to speak life, even when your circumstances don't show life yet. That's called vision. That's called maturity. That's called self-leadership. And if you want to lead others one day, you've got to learn how to lead yourself, especially with your words. Fear will always be an option, but so will faith. You'll always have a reason to say, I can't. But you'll also always have the choice to say, I will. And when you speak those words, when you say, I will, I can, I must, I am becoming, you rewire your brain, you rewrite your beliefs, you reshape your identity. Now don't misunderstand me. This won't happen in one day. You don't speak one sentence and suddenly your life transforms. This takes time, it takes intention, it takes discipline. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. And it starts with the discipline of your thoughts, the discipline of your mouth, the discipline of saying what you want to believe, even when it's hard. So if you want something new in your life, begin here. Don't speak fear. Speak faith. Don't repeat your pain. Repeat your power. Don't declare what's missing. Declare what's coming. Because you're always listening. And your subconscious, oh, it's listening too. It's writing the script that your body, your behavior, and your habits will follow. So, if you constantly tell yourself, I'm too tired, don't be surprised when your energy drops. If you keep saying, I never finish what I start, don't be shocked when you quit again. But if you tell yourself, I follow through, I'm disciplined, I make it happen, sooner or later, your actions will catch up with your confession. That's how you rewire your beliefs. Not with wishing, not with waiting, but with words. Strong words, daily words, words rooted in truth and in vision. Because what you speak long enough, you believe. And what you believe long enough, you become. So, for the next 30 days, I challenge you to speak faith, speak with boldness, speak with vision, speak with love for the person you are becoming. You are planting seeds, and those seeds, spoken in faith, will grow into a harvest of confidence, strength, and success, because faith speaks, and the future listens. Now, let's take this a step further. You've heard it before, act as if. But let me give you a better version, talk as if. That's right, talk like the person you want to become. Not next year, not someday. Now, because your words are the dress rehearsal for your future, if you want to change your life in 30 days, you don't need a miracle. You need intention. You need consistency. And most of all, you need a new conversation. Let me share something simple, but powerful. You don't get what you want. You get what you speak. If you want to become confident, stop saying you're shy. If you want to become wealthy, stop saying you're broke. If you want to become disciplined, stop saying, I can't stay focused. No, I'm not asking you to lie. I'm asking you to lead yourself. You see, every day you're talking to your spouse, to your friends, to the world. But more than anyone, you're talking to you. And if you want a new result, you need a new vocabulary, a new sound, a new standard. So here's the challenge for the next 30 days. Speak only like the person you want to become. Catch yourself. When that old voice starts to rise up, I'm tired, I'm overwhelmed, I'm not ready. Stop it, pause, and speak something new. Say, I am focused, I'm learning, I'm doing what needs to be done. I follow through. I am becoming the kind of person I respect. It might feel awkward at first. That's okay. Growth always feels a little strange in the beginning, but don't stop. I remember when I first started doing this, I was broke. Not just financially, but mentally, emotionally. And I had a choice. I could keep repeating the story that got me there, or I could start telling a new one. So I got a little notebook. I wrote down how the future me would talk. I wrote things like, I'm a disciplined man. I make good decisions. I attract success. I invest in myself every day. I'm building something that matters. And every day, I'd read it out loud, even when I didn't believe it yet, even when the bank account said otherwise, even when I felt like quitting. Because I knew this truth: what you speak with consistency, you eventually believe. And what you believe, you act on. And what you act on, you become. Magic. It's not luck, it's discipline. Discipline to stay on script when the old story tries to drag you back. Discipline to guard your language like it's gold, because it is. You want to change your identity. You want to upgrade your life. Then start here. Sound like your future, not your past. You've heard me say it. Success is something you attract by the person you become. And the person you become is shaped by the words you repeat. So, every morning for the next 30 days, set your tone. Before you check your phone, before you scroll the news, before the world starts talking at you, you talk to you. Say out loud, I am on a mission. I am in control. I am healthy, wealthy, and wise. I make decisions that move me forward. I respect my time, and others respect me too. Do it again at night. Let those words tuck you in. Let your mind sleep with confidence, not confusion. And watch what happens, not overnight, but day by day, word by word. You'll begin to walk different, act different. Why? Because you've been listening. And that new voice, the one full of purpose, belief, and certainty, that voice is becoming you. So here's your challenge, 30 days. No negative talk. No, can't. No, it's too hard. Only words that lift. Only words that lead. Remember, every time you speak with faith and intention, you're not just describing your future. You're creating it. And the most powerful transformations don't come from outside. They come from within. They come from how you talk when no one's watching. So let me ask you again, how does the person you want to become speak? Now go be that voice for 30 days, then 60, then for life. Because when your language rises, so will your life. Now let's be honest with each other. It's easy to speak positive when everything is going your way, when you've had a good night's sleep, when the bills are paid, the sun is shining, and the coffee's just right. But what about when it's not? What about when life pushes back? You see, anybody can talk like a champion when the scoreboard is in their favor. But life, my friend, life doesn't always play fair. It rains on your plans. It delays your dreams. It hands you setbacks when all you asked for was progress. And here's where the real growth begins. Not in the easy moments, but in the pressure. Not when it's smooth sailing, but when the wind is strong and you're not sure the sails will hold. Because that's the test. The real test. What do you say when it's hard? What do you tell yourself when nothing's working? When the call doesn't come? When the results don't show? When the door slams shut in your face? That's when the voice matters most. The internal one. The quiet one. You've got two choices. You can curse the difficulty, or you can coach yourself through it. You can say, "This always happens to me." Or you can say, "This is where I build strength." You can say, "I'm not cut out for this." Or you can say, "I was made for moments like this." Because here's what I've learned. The language you use in adversity reveals your future, not just your mindset, your trajectory. When life gets heavy, don't get silent. Get strong. Talk yourself through with discipline, with certainty, with faith. Say it out loud if you have to. I will not be shaken. I've handled storms before. This moment will not define me. I will define it. You've heard me say, don't wish it was easier, wish you were better. Well, now's the time to become better. And better starts with belief. And belief is shaped by words. You can either repeat the language of defeat or speak the vocabulary of victory. Now, let me tell you something important. Even the best get discouraged. Even the most successful people, they face doubts. But here's the difference. They don't live there. They don't camp in the negative. They talk their way through it. They speak what they want to see, even when they're staring at what they don't want. It's not delusion. It's decision. You're deciding not to let a bad moment become a bad mindset. You're choosing not to let a delay become your definition. You're saying to yourself, this pain is temporary. My purpose is permanent. This challenge is here to grow me, not to stop me. This isn't the end. This is the beginning of a better version of me. Let me tell you a secret. The people who rise the highest, they've all had setbacks. But the difference was in what they said to themselves in the dark. So let me ask you, what are you saying to you when life gets heavy? Because that voice, that quiet whisper, it's carving the path ahead. And maybe you've been hit lately. Maybe life knocked the wind out of you. I understand. I've been there too. But don't let the setback silence your spirit. Don't let the delay distract you from the dream. Talk yourself through, with strength, with hope, with vision. Say, I bend, but I don't break. I'm built for the bounce back. Setbacks are setups for comebacks. Every time you speak like that, you win a battle inside. And those internal victories, they add up. They create momentum. They shift your identity. And suddenly, what used to shake you now sharpens you. What used to break you now builds you. All because you talked different when life pushed hard. So don't stop now. You've come too far. The storm won't last forever. But the strength you build in it, that will last a lifetime. What happens when you begin to speak differently? For not one day, not 1 week, but for 30 days. Not just when life is easy, but when it's hard, when you're tired, when you feel stuck, you start hearing a new voice inside. Not the voice of fear, not the voice of doubt, but the voice of belief. You start realizing something important, that the old version of you, the one that hesitated, the one that waited for permission, the one that second guessed everything, that version doesn't have to run the show anymore. Because you've been doing the work. You've been rewriting the script, 1 sentence at a time. You've been planting seeds. And after 30 days of nurturing that internal dialogue, those seeds, they've started to grow. Now here's the magic. Here's what I've learned. You don't get what you want. You get what you believe. And belief, real belief, it doesn't arrive overnight. It isn't something someone hands you. It's something you earn. You earn it by showing up when it's hard. You earn it by choosing growth over comfort. You earn it by speaking truth over lies. You earn it by telling yourself, I can, I will, I must. And the more you speak that way, the more you become that way. It's a quiet revolution. No fireworks, no parades, just a shift. A subtle but powerful shift inside. You stop hoping for better, and you expect better, because your identity is changing, and your identity drives everything. Now I'll tell you this, most people never make it to this part. They give up somewhere between the old voice and the new. They start strong, but when discomfort shows up, they retreat, back into familiar thinking, back into self-doubt, back into survival. But not you, not anymore. You've walked this 30-day path. You've heard the whispers. You've faced the resistance. And you've spoken life into your journey. And that changes everything. Because once you believe, once you truly believe, you'll start taking action that matches your new belief. And once your action matches your belief, your results will change. And when your results change, your life changes. But it all starts with the voice. I remember someone once told me, the most important words you'll ever hear are the ones you say to yourself. And I found that to be true, because we all talk to ourselves. The question is, what are we saying? Are we replaying the disappointments, or are we rehearsing the possibilities? Are we making excuses, or are we building belief? This 30-day journey has been about more than just speaking positively. It's been about reclaiming power, taking responsibility, becoming the kind of person who wakes up each day and says, I know who I am. I know where I'm going. And I know I'm worthy of getting there. You know what that's called? Ownership. You've stopped waiting for someone to come save you. You've stopped blaming. You've stopped deflecting. You've taken control. And now you've got something most people never find: inner certainty. The kind of certainty that doesn't need validation. The kind that isn't shaken by a bad day. The kind that gets back up again and again. So here's the question, what now? Do you go back to who you were before the 30 days? Do you go back to doubting, to hesitating, to shrinking, or do you move forward? Wiser, stronger, louder on the inside. Because this is not the end of the journey. It's the beginning. You've built the habit. You've awakened the voice. And now it's time to live like you believe it. Walk like it. Work like it. Speak like it. Because belief isn't just a mindset. It's a lifestyle. And now you know how to live it. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be committed. You don't have to shout. You just have to speak clearly, firmly, and consistently. You don't have to be anyone else. You just have to be the person you were always meant to be, the one who believes. Because when you believe in you, truly believe, the world begins to believe in you too. And that, my friend, is when life begins to change.